if you're an African nurse planning to make that move to the UK in 2026, let me be honest with you, this is probably the most difficult time to make that big decision. Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now in this video I'm talking about if it is still worth it to move to the UK as a registered nurse in 2026. On one hand, people are still coming to the UK to practice as nurses, and on the other hand, some persons or some group of people are still struggling. The big question is it still worth it to migrate to the UK, or people are just chasing outdated dreams? For years now, UK has always been the dream, better pay, better life, better system. To be fair with you, some of those things are still true. But one thing people are not telling you is that the system has rapidly changed. Let's start from the beginning, getting a job, because that is where people are stuck right now. Before now, agencies were recruiting from Nigeria and other parts of African countries. But now we have fewer sponsorship and the competition is very high. So many trusts are no longer actively recruiting internationally the way they used to do before. And I have spoken to so many nurses that have written their exams. I mean, nurses that have been able to self-sponsor themselves to the UK and written the OSCE exam and have passed the OSCE exams. And I've spoken to a few nurses that are still struggling to get jobs. They've done everything right and they've waited for months, they've waited for years. In fact, I spoke with somebody a few days ago that I've been waiting for like 2 years now. She's been applying, she's gone back to her home country, which is Nigeria, and she's been applying and she's not been able to get any job yet. To be honest, this is very frustrating, and that is the reality that most nurses are not talking about. So many African nurses who have gone through this self-sponsorship routes, they've paid huge fees, they've paid huge amounts of money to switch their visa routes. And to be very honest with you, this self-sponsorship route is very risky. Now, if you don't get a job quickly, you're spending money with no guarantee of stability. Now, don't get me wrong, there are nurses who have gone through that route and they've gotten jobs, but what percentage of those nurses do you know? As someone who relocated to, I will tell you that uncertainty hits differently if you have so much responsibilities. Let's talk about money, because this is the big reason people are moving, right? Nurses.co.uk, Agenda for Change NHS Nursing Pay Scale and Bands 2026 to 2027. In this article states that a Band 5 nurse earns £32,000 yearly. It sounds good, right? But here's the real picture. Royal College of Nursing states that in their new analysis says that nurses' pay has been so severely eroded that starting salaries are now over £8,000 lower than if wages had kept up with inflation since 2010. It shows most junior nursing staff have been worse hit, with Band 5s 21% seeing the biggest erosion of their wages. You've seen in all of these articles that you're earning in pounds, but cost of living is also in pounds. And with all of these articles saying is that what nurses are earning in the UK is not enough pay. Many nurses in the UK will constantly tell you that they are trying, in fact, they are catching up to meet up financially. And then there's the job itself. Now, according to reports, over 25,000 nursing vacancies in England, and this was a report in 2025, I think November, by theguardian.com, and around 66% of nurses have worked while unwell. Many are doing unpaid overtime, and to be honest with you, this year 2026 is going to be more of that number. And what does that tell you? It means that the system is stretched. Staff are tired. The pressure is real. I am stating all of these facts, right, so that you can be able to make that big decision. When you come, you're not just entering the system because of the opportunity. You're entering the system because the system needs you and because the system itself is struggling. This is where I'm going to be honest with you. And it's not a simple yes or no answer if it is worth it to still move to the UK in 2026 as a registered nurse. And still be worth it if you're thinking long term and you want global exposure and experience. Plan to specialize or grow into a Band 6, Band 7 and beyond, or your plan is to intentionally build a life and not just surviving here in the UK. And for so many of us, that exposure alone can change the trajectory of our lives. But coming to the UK might not be worth it if you are coming with unrealistic expectation, or you're coming to the UK because you want to make quick money, or you're not prepared for the emotional and financial adjustment you need to make. This is not 2019 or before the COVID era or after the COVID era. this is a more complex UK. What do you do if the UK is still your dream country? Now, be very strategic. Don't rush your migration process. Ensure you make an informed decision and not just an emotional one. Have a financial buffer, because the beginning might be slower than what you expect. And then think beyond getting a job. Now ask yourself, what is your 5-year plan? Now imagine you migrate to the UK and you're practicing as a nurse here. What is your 5-year plan afterward? Can the UK give you all of that, all of the things you need to achieve your 5-year plan? Build a skill that will make you valuable, and consider other option plan, like applying in care homes, looking for community roles, because to be honest, most of the nurses I've spoken with are either strict on looking for bedside job roles, or roles that are confined within the 4 walls of the hospitals. There are also roles in the community here in the UK. You can also consider that. Finally, in this video, I want you to know that moving to the UK is no longer a dream. It's a decision that requires clarity, strategy, and emotional readiness. Some persons, it might be worth it, while for some others it might not be the best part anymore. If there's anything you should take out of this video, is that don't follow trends, don't follow pressure. Make decisions that aligns with your life goals. If you're not already practicing in the UK, or you're not in any country in Africa still considering to move to the UK, let me know in the comment section. It's moving to the UK still worth it in 2026?